I'm Rachel Cole, and I'm a singer, songwriter, and recording artist. That is actually my very first recording. For those of you who don't know what that is, that's a cassette tape. It's how I used to listen to music before Apple took over. So when I lived in Boston, I recorded 3 CDs of original music. These were done the traditional way. The musicians would come into the studio, they'd record their individual parts, guitar, piano, bass, etc. Then they'd all get mixed together into one cohesive sound. Now I'm in Colorado and I could not get the band back together. Some had graduated high school and were on to college. We were all scattered all over the country, and time and money-wise just wasn't gonna happen. What was I gonna do? Technology to the rescue. Enter Dropbox, the most important invention for recording artists since auto-tune. Now we didn't have to be in the same room to create great music. So here's how it works. Musicians from all over the country, or even all over the world, could record their parts, either at a studio somewhere or their home, send them to me to listen to, then I send them to the engineer in Boston and he'd put them all together. This worked really well for a while. All the tracks that I were getting were technically perfect. Everything lined up well when we fed them into the studio software. The technology was definitely doing its job. But there was something missing. The feel, the tone, the vibe of the song wasn't there. It was so interesting because we were all playing the right notes, but we were missing the soul of the songs. I mean, after all, a song is made up of more than just a collection of tracks. Dropbox was really good for communication, but not so good for collaboration. A good song is really a fusion of efforts by different musicians. There were technical issues too. For example, I recorded some vocals here and I sent them to my guy in Boston and he said, "What kind of mic are you using?" I said, "I don't know, a big silver one?" And he said, "That's the wrong mic for your voice. Sounds like you're singing into a tin can." More time and money down the drain. I also realized we were missing that shared experience that music provides. It was getting lost in the technology. You know when you go to a concert and it's all amazing, and then you record some of it on your phone and you watch it later, it's a totally different experience. It's the coming together that makes it magical. I also learned that just because a musician's very talented, if they don't know you and your vision, it's just not gonna work. Not to mention that all musicians are not interchangeable. Am I wrong? So after a full year of file swapping, hundreds of text messages, and long-distance arguments between sound engineers, I knew I had to get on a plane and do this face-to-face. I hopped out to Boston, and for 4 intense days in the studio, we got the recording done. In a little studio in Middleton, Massachusetts, we put the soul back in the sound. Yeah. This is actually an interesting trend in the music industry because it seems like gone are the old, organic, scratchy recordings of the Beatles, replaced by the electronic sounds of bands like the Postal Service, which actually got its name because none of the recording artists were ever actually in the same room together. To further illustrate the impact technology is having on music, studies have shown that younger listeners now are becoming so used to the technically auto-tuned sounds of pop stars that when they hear a live performance, it doesn't sound right to them. And the music industry is actually a latecomer to this idea of decentralized teamwork. Software companies have been doing this for years with mixed results. Because when you want someone to do something more than just follow explicit instructions, they have to have a shared vision of the outcome. And the more creative it is, the harder and more complicated it can be. At a certain point, text messages and emails just don't cut it. For all of our information sharing technology, there's still no substitute for face-to-face communication. And the truth is, some of the best songs were written by 2 musicians just sitting around noodling in a studio. We did end up going back to Dropbox at the end for the mixing process because then it was just stuff like bring the vocals up here, bring the drums down there, and for that, Dropbox really couldn't have been better. I'm so grateful for the opportunities that technology has provided in the recording industry. I got to meet with work with some amazing musicians with never having to meet them face to face. But at the end of it all, as the Beatles learned in that little studio on Abbey Road, sometimes you just have to come together. Thank you.